So we have feeders that are 2 inches in diameter, 3 inches in diameter, and 4 inches in diameter. The 2-inch in diameter one, with the same kind of cut, can be used for the little chicks as they're getting started, almost from day one. If you feel more comfortable using something even a little smaller, you could do that, but very quickly, certainly within a week's time, they can eat very comfortably out of the 2-inch diameter feeder. Then as the birds begin to really clean up their feed on a regular basis, we go to these bigger feeders that are 3 inches, and that's probably at about 2 to 3 weeks of age. So eventually we switch over to, after the birds have been moved out here, we switch over to the 4-inch in diameter feeders. So the birds have been brought out here at 4 weeks of age. They're fully feathered, and by then they're eating really well. And this 4-inch in diameter feeder really holds a lot of feed. Now for this particular batch, as you can see, we're using a Crumbles feed that we've purchased at the local feed store. More typically, we use a mash, which is a ground feed, and I think you can see that we have some of it in here still. And the ground feed mash that we use is organic. Now one advantage about using these kind of feeders and having the mash feed is that the mash will not plug up this feeder. You can fill this full and they have access to the feed until it's gone. Whereas in a tube feeder, the mash feed will plug up, it won't settle down, and even though it might be full of feed, they can't get at it. But here there's never a concern about them running out of feed. This thing will hold a lot of feed and they have access to it all day and all night. By the way, it's intriguing to note that this 4-inch in diameter feeder holds almost 70% more than the 3-inch in diameter. So you're really getting a lot of feed to them at this point. I just wanted to show you a little bit more about the PVC feeders that I make and how we go about doing this, just so you can feel a little better about the process and how easy it really is to do. But essentially, when you go to the store, the hardware store, all of these PVC pipes typically come in 10-foot lengths. And there's 2-inch and 3-inch and 4-inch and more. And they're all relatively inexpensive. For example, the 3-inch one costs about $15. The 2-inch one is about $10. And I think the 4-inch one is about $18. And so when you compare that, given that you're getting 2 big feeders out of it, when you compare that to one feeder at about $20, it's actually quite a good deal to be making these. So this is the 3-inch feeder. And again, what I've done, as with this 4-inch feeder as well, I have cut them in half with a circular saw and then used a jigsaw to cut out about 1/3 of the circumference, about 1/4 of the circumference rather, about 3 inches. And so one thing that you need to remember is that when you get these at the store, there is printing in black that runs all along the length of it. And I use that printing as a line, as a guide. And so that I just, on one side of the printing, because it's literally a straight line, I mark a chalk line. And so then I'm able to make that cut, and then I just measure while it's still connected. I measure over 3 inches and then make another chalk line. And then I just follow that chalk line to cut it out. So it works really easily, really smoothly. Then using the jigsaw again, I just simply cut a couple pieces of wood to use as plugs and put in the ice screws that we'll use to hang them from the ceiling. Now, on the 3-inch and the 2-inch, I just typically remove about 1/4 of the circumference. And that allows them to still get their heads inside here all the way to the bottom without problem. For big chickens, even, I'm a little concerned about their ability to get their heads all the way to the bottom. So instead of removing 1/4, I remove a little more than that. Somewhere between 1/4 and 1/3, just to make sure that it's gives them enough access to really get down in there and be able to eat every bite that they can. And that's the same thing, of course, cutting it in half with a circular saw, then cutting out this piece with a jigsaw, and then putting in plugs. But this is really an easy way to make a really good heavy-duty feeder that will last a lifetime. So I highly recommend making your own feeders compared to buying feeders at the store.